Alrighty, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to a brand new review. Today I'll be showing you guys how I'm up a little bit over $45,000 trading today on a Monday. And so yeah, let's get into it. So today was kind of a blessing because today was a lot easier than how I feel it's been as of recent. Um, and so yeah, here we go. In terms of my game plan coming into the open, it was pretty simple. We pretty much said coming into New York Open, seemingly overnight price did a great job of hunting liquidity. The ratio we had sold off aggressively into the hourly wick low, 68.79 and 25. Excuse me, I think I meant to say 25 536. Which if you guys don't know, for ES it's this level right here, this wick low, and then for NQ it's this level right here. We did see a bit lower on NQ, which is why I initially liked ES as my first trade of the day, which we'll get into. But yeah, and then had taken it during London. We had seen a turnaround coming back up and seeking an MSS, and through our opening range move, we got a bullish sequence trading past its Asia high, and now looking for a higher draw. I am bullish until we see a flip back down, reclaiming below our London low for the AM session. Key levels and upside on ES are 69.91, 71.08, 70 or 70.043. I think I meant to say, excuse me, let me edit that. I don't know why I had a typo here. Actually, that's right. I misread that. And then levels for NQ, 25,940, 26,150, 26,349. This is not including our overnight highs and lows, obviously. And goal is simple today, 0.5 hour risk. Let's get it. So before we get into the trades, obviously, we had an initial risk plan. Over the weekend, I decided to de-risk a little bit because what I want these Lucid accounts is I want these Lucid accounts to be the staple of my live executions that I take with you guys on the community. And when we go back and journal and have these reviews that I post, it's consistently off of one account. So it's not like it's more so just me wanting to have these for a longer duration of time, whether, obviously we go in drawdown or hit payout. If we have higher risk, right, we either hit payout and we get moved live a lot quicker, as opposed to kind of de-risking a bit and taking our time with it. So yeah, I just want to showcase the power of consistency, as we always say. And so yeah, with our 0.5 hour risk, we adjusted and we moved it down to 250 bucks per trade. In terms of our 1 hour risk, it's around $500 per trade. So that's kind of how we go based off risk. We have scheduled days for certain days where 1 hour and half hour risk, which we have in the community. And so yeah, in terms of our first trade for the day specifically, it was a long here. Obviously, after talking about my initial bias, which was very bullish, it was A plus bullish because we had a bullish higher time frame outlook, right? Like we said, came down here, took out major sell side. We then had seen overnight price come back up here through London and trade at a bullish state looking for reversal. And then most importantly, the opening range move confirms that upside interest because we see the opening range move build off what we did overnight, which is take out that major area of sell side liquidity and then see it flip back up. So my bias coming into the open was looking to shoot for these targets right here on ES, specifically again, 69.91, 70.18, 70.43. These were targets I had in mind because, again, we had our bias developed through higher time frame analysis, through utilizing overnight price, and through utilizing our opening range move. That's what we got here, right? Clear cut, boom, clear as day. From there on out, after the open, after recognizing that price was very bullish off the open, my interest pertained in higher, obviously. And so our first trade of the day here was off a simple retrace here where we got a move off ES into an internal low. Clearly, the opening range move right off the open, we got our opening range move into London high. We saw a very bullish displacive sequence, not only through London high, but also through Asia high, clearly telling me that not only is our bias bullish, but the likelihood of us hitting our draw is sooner than later, right? So it's all about getting your narrative right here, right? The anticipation aspect and being reactive. And through being reactive here, we could recognize that timing it was now, right? Reason being, price was so bullish, entry models were here, and draw was very obvious, obviously through our bias development. And so yeah, we see a good push here. Our first trade of the day ended up being simply, a 1 minute gap go invert here and also a reclaim above this 1 minute gap. Yes, we did invert this 1 minute bullish gap, go bearish invert. What I simply wanted to see for the entry here was this bearish inversion fair value gap turn, or more so look to get invalidated, right? So if we see this 1 minute gap go, this 1 minute bearish gap go invert in a bullish sequence, that's your first bullish indication off entry arrays, right? And number two would be this bearish inversion fair value gap, which gets invalidated, right? Those two components kind of in one, displacing the way we did through beautiful confirmation is what gave me conviction in entering the chart or entering this trade now and putting risk on now. And from there, again, our draw target was simply what we had in mind through our game plan. Boom. We take the trade and we have our targets based off our game plan, and we simply go our take profits based off the game plan. So again, you see me mention it here. Boom, update, blah, blah, blah. We take the trade. We then see price go and flourish from there. We see price draw higher. We see a good move. And then we came up here and we take out this break-even zone, which if you guys don't know, is simply a 15-minute internal wick high, which is what our break-even stops were at this trade. And the reason I have my break-even stops, or I instill break-even stops in the first place, is because I always look at this, I always look at the charts and I'm always thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, where is a great point on the charts where once price comes up into that level, if it's a long, or comes down into that level, if it's a short, where price should not need to seek your entry again, unless it wanted to seek lower for this instance. And this 15-minute internal high was that, and that was more so what I fancied. And you see price come up here, take the high, retrace. We eventually get trailed out. We put in some SMT off the highs as ES took the high out, NQ didn't at this point in time. But we eventually come back down here, get trailed out. This trade ends up realizing for a small gain at about a 0.4 R. And here are the executions for those. Right here, boom, took long, got trailed out eventually here. You see the realization on the trade was about 135 bucks per account. So yeah, from there on out, for me, some people in chat were like, okay, Lanto, are you bearish here since we took out, that high and we're seeing a bit of a flip? For me, no, not yet. Reason being was mostly because price was still creating higher lows. As you see on this Trade of A chart, as you see on NQ and ES, price was still consistently creating higher lows. Price was still reclaiming and holding value at the highs that we were seeing price trade at. From there, I thought, okay, unless we came back down here and inverted this 15-minute gap on NQ, right? This 15-minute gap, unless we saw price kind of flip back down and we saw price invert this 15-minute gap on NQ, I was like, okay, I'm still bullish. There's no reason for me to be bullish. If we see this 15-minute gap go invert, then that's when we could start thinking about price and being, or more so having the idea that price wants to seek a move lower. We did not see that happen. We instead saw this 15-minute gap almost perfectly rebalance as we did on ES. Saw a 15-minute gap tap here as well, right? Good 15-minute gap tap. We see a healthy rebalance. We then see price come back up. And for me specifically, my interest turned to NQ here because although ES was the leading asset initially, we had seen a bit of a flip where NQ was the asset which started becoming dominant. And so for me specifically, at this trade, at this point in time, we end up taking this trade here, which was a 1-minute gap go invert. And again, the main conviction for this trade here was a 15-minute gap rebalance. So it's a multi-time frame alignment trade, 15-minute gap rebalance, shoot back up, and a 1-minute gap entry. We come up here, our entry is off this 1-minute gap, which is very displacive, the most displacive gap right here off this retracement sequence. We take entry supposedly at 11:09 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when your confirmation is. We took, I believe, off the very next candle, and I'll show you guys right here. Right, boom, we take entry. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We see a good push in price. We then see price ultimately drop higher here. Our take profit one interest on this trade here was a simple draw in mind that we had through our game plan yet again. We end up taking the trade, right? And we end up seeing our take profit one get smashed here. Then, we end up holding the second trade here, trailing stops a bit tight because we knew, although we took out a significant high like this could also mean where we could see a point of interest where price looks to draw back down lower. We then see price end up coming back down here and we're tracing off our final micro. And in terms of the risk system for this trade, it was a 3 micro take. The risk was about just shy of 300 bucks. It was either me risking 200 bucks or 300 bucks. I chose 300. So that was around the $250 ballpark. And that's the realization for today, right? We see a healthy R on the day, right? With our risk being 250 bucks per trade, we're coming out the day just shy of $600 per account. So a healthy day overall, and I simply copied this over on my larger accounts, did the same thing, and the community did very well. We did very well, so great day, blessed. That's pretty much it. That's the review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you guys in the next one.